there, Pete Donaldson here for thefootballramble.com, giving you some filleted choice cuts from the world of video gaming. And of course, this episode is rather an important one. Last month, E3 started, middled, and then predictably ended. And the big winners were arguably Sony and Nintendo. After a stinking few months for the former, a chance to bust out one last crack at the handheld market with the PlayStation Vita was heartening, even charming, but only in the same way that a drunk puking man tries to steady himself one final time before ploughing himself headfirst into a post box.
Welcome to the world of Wii U.
Nintendo, on the other hand, also had their own tiny bundle of joy to show off, the Nintendo Wii U, a concept so confusing people weren't exactly sure whether it was a controller, an entirely new system, or just a $300 placemat.
Oh, you nailed me!
As always with E3, you kind of had to dig around a little bit to find something truly interesting behind your FIFA 12s and your Call of Duties. So with that in mind, here are 3 things that I got incredibly excited about. Number 1, a release date for Trackmania 2 Canyon. Kind of a forgotten series by many. If you're not familiar, Trackmania is a sort of spiritual successor to the Spectrum stunt car racer and more popular in mainland Europe than politicised fascism. Developers Nadio revealing that it should be out come November, which is massive. Number 2, Hitman. The fellow with the skinny tie and the severe haircut returns in his 5th game, this time dubbed Absolution. Now, this is a game series that was criticised as much as it ever was lauded, but I can't help but love it. I bloody adore a sneak 'em up, and this time round the other in-game characters are supposed to react much more naturally to a man wearing clothes several sizes too small and who hides in cupboards. And yes, we've heard this 4 times already, but what the hell, it's Agent 47, he can do what he wants, the fibre wire swine. Number 3, another game which should hit shelves come 2012 is yet another sequel, but quite frankly is about 3 ballparks away from what the first 2 games gave us. BioShock Infinite emerges from the sea and manages to get all the way onto a renegade floating city and couldn't look more different if it tried. The plot is probably way too involving to detail here, but suffice to say, it looks incredible. The world is as rich and as involving as the first 2, and I, for one, cannot wait. So, what did we learn from this year's E3? It was very much a conference of sequels. Studios appear to be concentrating on stripping down their portfolio a little bit and concentrating on the titles that made them money. Great news if you're a Tomb Raider fan. Awful news if you were looking forward to something called Gun Loco.
Oh yeah!
Oh no, sir. You're cancelled. And we've heard from Nintendo and Sony, but what were Microsoft up to? Well, they're trying their very best to turn the populist Kinect system into a hardcore gamer's prom queen, with varying results. Games such as the forthcoming Mass Effect 3 will apparently feature cynically tacked-on talking-to-your-telly dialogue systems, and the new Ghost Recon game will give you the chance to look like you're molesting a ghost. Never mind. But all of that lot is kind of in the laps of the video game gods. We need to know what's coming out right now in your new releases.
Can you handle the intensity of a mixed martial arts workout?
Well, out last Friday, UFC Personal Trainer hit the Xbox Kinect with a right hook and then a roundhouse kick. It's effectively the lone male-centric fitness game in a sea of lady titles. Thanks to this game, you too can become one of the frighteningly lithe punching machines with exercise designed by something called the National Academy of Sports Medicine, who do sound like they may know what they're talking about. If I was an actual UFC fighter, however, I would probably go for a title endorsed by the Please Don't Punch Me in the Mouth Thanks Institute, so whatever floats your boat, I guess.
Your presence creates these animals.
Box art for the forthcoming open-world Batarang Me Up Batman Arkham City has been revealed, a game that's due mid-October, and in a turn-up for the books it stars Batman as he takes on a whole city of jerk-offs, scoundrels and misanthropes. The first one seemed to come out of nowhere and was quite frankly brilliant. This one is shaping up to be bigger and better, so look out for that come Halloween.
This place is dangerous. I like it.
Last year's surprise hit for Codemasters Birmingham, Formula 1 2010, almost inevitably has its sequel already on the starting grid after shifting 2 million units and bagging a BAFTA. This time round, gamers will be treated to a decidedly fuller experience, making race days feel that little bit more special, having to do with the press conferences and the like with a cool head and a smile. The biggest upgrade, bar the lick of paint the tracks and the environments have received, is probably the split-screen multiplayer, meaning that you only require one Xbox or PS3 to take on your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or that crazy guy who lives in the bottle bank who you once saw drinking from a puddle. F1 2011 is out on the 23rd of September. So, we kind of know what's coming over the horizon in video gaming, but let's give a respectful tip of the hat to titles past. In the year 1996, Gremlin Interactive gave us Normality, a 3D graphical adventure which followed Kent Knutson, a naughty teen trapped in the city of Neutropolis, a police state where any form of free expression or enjoyment was frowned upon, nay, stamped upon, all thanks to a bad egg dictator called, rather refreshingly, Paul. The object of the game was to help Kent overthrow Paul with the aid of a resistance group, and was one of the very first games to utilise 3D in a genre that up until now had been very much two-dimensional. It may look like absolute toss now, but its upbeat British goofiness, its frankly mental puzzles, and its relentlessly gaudy feel was a real tonic. American gamers were treated to the vocal talents of Corey Feldman as Kent, while us Brits, well, we had this.
Frustrated? Want to meet some like-minded individuals? Want to do something about the state of the city?
Yeah. All in all, Normality was one of those titles which precisely no one in their right minds would ever regard as being important, but for me was a very English stab at the US-produced Tex Murphy 3D detective games. Cheap looking, clunky, but a game which focused on just making us laugh.
Don't look down.
So, we've seen Batman's brand new box. Let's have a look at a few game covers which should have been bat-flinged into the bat bin. It's time once again for some bad video game box art. In at 3 this week, I love cricket. Do you love cricket? Ball by ball on the spectrum. Get back to the pavilion, fella. You're out for a duck. In at 2, better bring your ghost tranquilizer gun, cause there's a ghost lying on the loose. Still, nice to see 1980s David Coverdale getting work. Finally for now, in at 1 with an absolute bullet. Oh, cheeky, it's Killer Kong. Not really the look of a murderous savage, is it? More of a coquettish, oh, guess where I've hidden some excrement. I've been Pete Donaldson for the Football Ramble. That's about it. Thank you very much for watching. I'm off for a nice big cry and a Kit Kat, so I'm only joking. Don't have any Kit Kats, so...